Did you know that you could do graduation, bachelor's in fine arts, and get admission in IIT Mumbai for masters? Did you know that home science is one course which opens up five broad fields, very different fields for you, for masters, and hence more job opportunities? Fields like food and nutrition, apparel and fabric science, resource management, human development and family studies, communication and extension. These kind of questions you can ask your people in front of you, the individuals in front of you, and give them these nuggets of information because you went through the exploration. You went and looked at the options. And that is one of the most exhilarating moments as a career counselor when you can give options to the individuals in front of you, options that they hadn't even thought of, they hadn't even heard. And that is why exploration becomes a very, very important aspect of the career development model. Now, what are we exploring? What are the options about? The options are about the job roles. What are the trends? What are the opportunities available? What does the labor market say? What is the scope of a job? What is the growth in that job? What is the future of the individual in the job? And what is the future of that job in itself? Like we know, there are so many jobs which are now redundant. And at the same time, there are so many jobs which were not there some years ago. All of this is information that we can get only when we indulge in exploration. And the basis of exploration is curiosity. In fact, if you think about it, the two major ingredients that a career counselor should have is empathy and curiosity. Empathy to be with that individual, to understand where they are coming from, and curiosity to know about them, to know about the job space, and to match them together. So, how do we do this exploration? How do we know more? Well, we research, we read a lot. We read whenever it is possible. We read about whatever is possible. And if you are a reader, this is a fantastic place to be. And in case you're a person who's not very interested to reading, then I would suggest that challenge yourselves to read at least one article concerning one new opportunity every day. It will not take you more than 15 minutes of your time, but this will be 15 minutes very well invested. And make short notes. Believe me, these notes will hold you in good stead when you are in front of a variety of individuals. How else can we explore? We can encourage our students to shadow. Job shadowing is when you are with the individual who is in the profession and all you do is just stay around them to see what they are doing. It's an interesting thing to request students to do that for their parents. That why don't you go with your father to the office one day? Or encourage them to use their network and go and job shadow a number of relatives or people that you know. It is not such a problematic thing to do. In fact, people find it very interesting when they have youngsters in their workspace and they introduce them as somebody who is just there to see how this work works. Another way of introducing exploration for a student is internships. Do encourage people, the individuals you meet, to do internships, to understand by working in that space for even a little point of time how it works. How does it feel to be around that space? What is the stress? What are the everyday challenges that they are facing? Even though an intern who's a very young person in the organization might not have the opportunity of participating in the challenges, just by being present in that environment and having a look at it is a big eye opener for them to understand the kind of competencies that they need to now have when they are thinking of the transition from school or college to work. Another good way of understanding how it is in a workspace is by doing some volunteer work or part-time work. It is very good if any of these things are paid, but unfortunately, if they are not paid also, it is still worth the information, the knowledge that the student gets by just being there. A very easy way of exploring, a very easy way of knowing more is by talking, by asking. Keep the curiosity alive. Talk to as many people as you want, as many people as you can. In fact, interestingly, everyone likes to talk about themselves, especially about the work that they're doing, because so many people identify themselves with their work. They take pride in their work. So ask them, what are you doing? How is it? What do you like about your workspace? What is it that you don't like about your workspace? How did you reach here? What did you think of when you were younger that made you realize that you wanted to be in this space? There can be so many questions. When we are encouraging the youngsters to do this, believe me, as career counselors, the wealth of information that we can gather by simply asking these questions to people we meet at gatherings, aeroplane rides, train rides, bus rides, in a waiting room of a doctor is amazing. So start to accumulate this wealth. Don't wait for a child to come to you to talk about an option and then go and research. That obviously will be done. But why not just keep building up your own stock of information? And then this is something that only when you have done it and you've seen the value in it, you can ask the others to do it as well. Exploration comes from curiosity, and curiosity has to be the baseline of any career counselor. Curiosity about the individual, about the options that are available, and the never-ending feeling of knowing more, because this is one field, and that's a heads up for you. This is one field which is never static. It's continuously moving. Did we know that IITs could give admission to people who didn't even see science after class 10? We didn't know that. Did we know that IIT in Chennai has a whole humanities section, which is very well sought after? So keep in touch, keep talking, keep reading, keep the curiosity alive, and encourage curiosity in the people in front of you. This is also a very interesting way to involve stakeholders. If you have an opportunity of meeting people for a number of times, encourage them to research. In fact, very often when I am asked that should we take X subject or Y subject, I ask them that why don't you go and have a look at the syllabus? It's a very strong factor to ask students to do that when they are in class 10, to go and read the syllabus, the contents of class 11 and 12 subjects, to figure out what sounds more interesting to them and involve them in making that decision rather than banking on what my seniors said, what my parents said. This also helps them to be more prepared for what is going to be their future. If they are opting for a subject, the syllabus of which seems a little tough, don't you think they'll be more geared up to be regular in their studies because of that? So, exploration done by counselors, exploration encouraged by counselors, both are equally important. And here's hoping that you keep the curiosity alive in you and generate it in the people in front of you.